For years, I've written songs that never got finished and never got released because they didn't fit the band that I was in or the process that I was in at the time. So now, I've started my journey into making my own music. It's time to look at those songs again because maybe they didn't fit somebody else's vision, but they definitely fit mine. No permission required. And this wasn't just one situation, it was a pattern. And it goes way back. I mean, the first band that I was in high school and up into my early 20s, I wrote a lot of the riffs. We all pitched in and crafted songs together, and that was the last time that ever actually happened. Every band that I've been in since has had one person that was the musical gatekeeper for that band. And so if you wanted your contributions, you had to submit them to them while they dragged it back to their cave and worked on the songs that they were trying to write. There was no collaboration. You could give them your pieces and they would use them or not, and most of the time it was not. But it's their project and it's their vision. And I tell you, it started right after I got out of that band. I got married, we started going to church, and the church that I went to had a policy that you couldn't serve anywhere in that church unless you had sat in the church for a year. We sat for a year. After that year, we participated in the Christmas program, and I played acoustic guitar. I had to go buy an acoustic guitar because, man, I'm a rock player. I didn't even own an acoustic guitar. We did good, and they invited us to join. They had so many guitar players that they forgot that I was even there. There was a point where I went to a service and they did not have a guitar player because the guy that was supposed to be there was supposed to be out, and the next guy wasn't available, and the next guy wasn't available, and they forgot about me. So I sat there and watched nobody play guitar, and it stung, man. Like, that hurt. And I talked to the music minister afterwards, and he let me join the choir because they didn't think that I was going to ever really get a chance to play the guitar. And so I sang in the choir for a long time, and then they added me as the acoustic guitar player, which I was so excited about. In the meantime, I'm sitting at home practicing my rock and roll stuff that I like to play, and I recorded a song, and I took it to the music minister, and I said, this is what I really want to do. I know that there's not a place for this on a Sunday morning, but this is who I am, and I would like your permission to put together a project and do something like this. And he took the tape and he said, let me think about it. And so maybe 6 weeks later, we're at choir rehearsal and it's wrapping up. And he announces that all the members of the rock band are supposed to rehearse afterwards so they can head upstairs to room whatever. So I asked him, I said, so there's a rock band? He said, oh yeah, I put this guy over here in charge of it and he picked all the people and it's going pretty well. I said, really? Because that was my idea. And that was my song. This is something that I really wanted to do. And he was like, oh yeah, that's right. Well, okay, you can be in it too. So I was the alternate guitar player in my own band. So they wrote one song and I worked with the keyboard player on it. We came up with some cool stuff. And he said, nope, too much. Nope. So we dumbed it down and we played it, and it was pretty well received. It was kind of a rockin' song, whatever. And then he kind of favored the other guy. The other guy had like a Rickenbacker and he was kind of a dweeb like this guy was. And they wrote a song. And so, the next month that version got up and did it. and the pastor got up afterwards and said, all right, let's hear it for the rock band or whatever that was. It was lame, but my takeaway was that what I wanted to do wasn't right, that it wasn't good, that it was somehow a deficiency on my end. I felt very slighted, I felt very overlooked, and I felt unworthy, let's say. And I played guitar for church for 10 years in various locations, and it was always so frustrating because there's no room for rock. There's no room to play. You play your chords and you play your little ambient pads. You rehearse every week and you play 2 services and you get 2 or 3 songs and you're not playing anything fun. They tell you that this is the good Christian thing to do and you're being obedient and you're being faithful and you're doing the thing. And that was a big part of the ultimate undoing of me wanting to be part of church. I just hit the point where I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to rock. I wanted to feel the power. I wanted to be who I felt like I was made to be. I wanted to do what I felt like I was made to do. So right out of that, I got into another band, and this was very much one man's vision. He had crafted the entire image of the band. He wrote all the songs. I would give him ideas, and he would not use them. The band's doing well. He's doing all the songs. I mean, it was a cover band with some original music, but he wrote everything, and there was no room for any expression, and I wanted to be part of it. And that's been my experience in bands more often than not. There's one person that is the absolute gatekeeper of what's going to happen, whether it's the singer who says that they can't sing anything they didn't write, or it's the guitar player who is kind of a legend in his own mind and knows exactly what he wants to do, and he's not open to any other interpretation. Or even if it's a cover band that is run by one person that put the band together and it's their band. And I've been in a situation where the cover band that I was in wanted to start writing music. So I went home and I wrote a song and I put it all together and I brought it back. And in the meantime, the person had gone and had someone write a song for them, like paid a songwriter to write a song, and it was garbage. It was so bad. Everybody in the band wanted to do the song that I had written. She wanted to do this garbage thing that she had written. Nobody could make heads or tails of it. And so neither song ended up getting done. And so I have all these songs that I have written over the years for other people's projects that just didn't fit their vision. And it starts to make you feel like maybe you don't know what you're doing. It starts to make you feel like maybe your ideas aren't good, if even your own bandmates aren't interested. But I think more often than not, it's an ego problem with the people that have put themselves in the positions of being the gatekeepers. But that's the way it works. I mean, if you join somebody else's band, you can't expect to inject your ideas into their vision. But what that ended up meaning for me is I have a collection of songs that I thought maybe didn't have merit, but as I step out of other people's visions and other people's interpretations, I've been listening to those songs again, and there's some good stuff in there. There's some good riffs in there. I have 2 or 3 songs that are completely done, lyrics, everything, that were written for a specific project, but they could easily be retooled into something that was expressing exactly what I wanted them to express. And where I am now is completely different. I've got my own space. I've got my own studio, my own setup, and I'm building something that's actually mine, not just the room, not just the facility, but the skill set, the brand. I don't need anyone's permission to write a song, to finish a song, to release a song. I don't need anybody's approval. I don't need to run any of this by anybody and let them decide if this is what I should do. So I've started going back through those songs, not to revisit the past and not even as a way to say, up yours to those people that did whatever they were going to do, but to see if there's anything in there that's worth anything, to see if I'm as excited about it now as I was when I wrote it. Because if I'm still excited about it, then maybe it's pretty good. And to some degree, it is part of priming the pump to start writing things again that I am excited about. By taking songs I already started and finishing them and releasing them, I can use that to build momentum instead of starting at zero, instead of building from a blank page. Because starting from zero is a big sticking point. But if you've already got momentum, then it can help you keep moving forward. It's been dawning on me that I slightly did myself a disservice by treating myself as an absolute beginner. When I started this, I decided that I was going to go back to ground zero, go back to the beginning with the guitar, the voice, production, content creation, and treat myself as an absolute beginner and start with the fundamental, foundational, beginning lessons, just to try and fill in any gaps and try to make the foundation stronger and then go forward knowing that I have the skills and the knowledge to proceed accordingly. But somewhere along the way, I started to adopt the mindset that I am a beginner. I'm not. I've been doing this a long time. I've written a lot of songs. I've played a lot of shows. I've played on records. I've played on big tours. I'm not a beginner. And when I listen to some of these songs and some of these riffs and some of these parts, they're not amateur. They're not garbage. It's actually pretty good, and I'm not bad at this. And I feel like by not finishing these songs, I robbed myself of the opportunity to develop as a songwriter. I let somebody else be the songwriter in all those situations. And when that was not shared with me, when I was not given an opportunity, I set my ideas aside in order to stay in the project and continue working on that thing. Those pieces have value. They're not just wreckage. They're not just garbage. There's some strong stuff in there. There are pillars of identity in these songs. There are pieces of who I was at that time that are laid into those tracks. And by reclaiming those pieces and finishing those tracks, I feel like I am kind of backfilling my musical identity. And then when the backfill is done, I can go forward. It's all playing into this analogy of the foundation, laying these pieces brick by brick and backfilling the dirt around the foundation. But I'm not going to just finish those songs the way that they would have been then, because I'm not the same guy. I've come a long way. I've got a different ear and a different perspective and a different skill set. Hopefully a higher level of professionalism. But most importantly, these ideas aren't for anybody else. I'm not trying to fit the mold of someone else's vision. These are for me. I'm not just the riff guy. I'm not just throwing something out there for somebody else's thing. These are mine. Now I'm the gatekeeper. Now I'm the producer. I'm the manager. I'm the one who is deciding what gets finished, what gets released, and how it gets done, what the finished product is going to be. I am stepping into the ownership of it. Part of that process of treating myself as a beginner kind of had a component of burning the ships, and burning the bridges behind me and leaving it all behind and starting over. But I don't think that's exactly what it needs to be. I think those old ideas do have pillars in them. I think they have pieces of me in them. And I think that they have potential. And I think I'm in a better position now to realize the potential of these songs from the perspective of what I want them to be, rather than let anyone else decide. And that's valuable. Instead of throwing all that away, I can take those pieces and repurpose them into what I'm building now. So I'm not starting with nothing, and I'm not starting from nothing. I'm about to build something new with the skills that I have and the pieces that I have. I always wanted to sing, and just the other week I was remembering all the bands that I was in my high school years that we didn't have a singer, and I was so tempted all those times to just step up to the microphone and let it fly, and it would have been bad. I know that, but that you got to start somewhere, and I was just so intimidated by it. I could have changed everything if I would have just tried it one time. I would have loved it. I would have done it. It would have been mine. And it's taken a long time to get back here, but I am stepping up to the microphone. And I'm not waiting for anybody else. I'm not waiting for anybody's approval. I'm taking these songs. I'm finishing these songs. I'm going to redo the drums and redo the bass and redo all the parts, and I'm going to sing them, and I'm going to release them. And it's going to be what it's going to be. And the first song that I'm going to do, I actually finished the song, wrote lyrics, sang it, recorded it all, and submitted it as part of the songs that we were writing for our last record. It wasn't a fit. In the band that I'm referring to, we demo songs and we take everything to a producer, and it's produced in the studio. So parts get changed, get added, get reworked. And so I presented it as a demo. But I broke that demo out the other day and I listened to it, and it's actually pretty good. There's actually some potential in that song. The song is called Pouring Rain. I actually really dig it. Like I can hear where it could go. And so that is the first song that I'm going to do. And I don't even have the original tracks anymore. I have the final mix. And so I'm going to rebuild that from scratch, retracking it, rethinking it, and just seeing what it actually becomes now. I've been experimenting with different ideas, different riffs, different stylistic things to do in that song. And it's really exciting to me to hear what it's becoming. I knew that song had potential when I gave it to them, and they didn't want it. And that's okay, because I'm going to finish it. I'm going to make it mine, and I'm going to release it. And so I'm telling you right here, right now, in this podcast, my first single is going to be Pouring Rain. I'm very much still learning my way around in the studio. I'm very much learning production as I go. It's going to take some time, but I'm going to do it. I can't wait to share it when it's done. I'm starting my journey right now into making and finishing and mastering and delivering my own original music. And it's not going to fit anybody else's idea of what it should be. It's not going to fit anybody else's vision, but it's going to fit mine. No permission required. This is the Chronicles of Shred.